watching The Prince of Egypt. I know this is a random movie, but Val Kilmer played this in that movie, and when they decided to do God's voice in the burning bush, they actually used Val Kilmer's voice and they put a treatment on it. And the reasoning of the directors was that they felt like when we hear God's voice, it's our voice in a way. They felt that kind of, instinctively inside. So I thought, this is an interesting way of doing it. Like, how else could we do it? Because the other way to do it was in silence. And I thought there was some beauty in having Tariq read it himself. That said, there were a couple questions about whether or not it was an interpretation. It was not an interpretation. There were one or two questions like people didn't believe Ghost would have written that. This is a tough one as the writer, because if you believe Ghost as a character as I wrote him from the beginning, then you have to kind of believe me when I tell you stuff about him, because I would be the authority on that, right or no? That's also another argument, that Ghost belongs to you guys now. Once we shoot it and we air it, Ghost belongs to the fans. That's another argument. What I would say is that is what Ghost wrote him. Period. And I would also say that Tariq was only supposed to read that in the event he was arrested for murder, not in the event he committed a murder. I want to be really clear about that. Ghost is not saying, I knew you would get arrested.
So going back to 610 and 615, Ghost and Tariq's relationship was really on edge. Ghost wanted him to hand himself in for Ray Ray's murder, and he was basically telling Tariq that one day you're gonna get caught. But when was Ghost ever gonna pay for all the bad shit that he did in his life? That was Tariq's response. But we had Ghost say in season 6, episode 10, don't force my hand, because if we work together, I know you can be the man that I want you to be. And after this conversation with Tariq, Ghost probably knew he's lost Tariq as a son, because of how Tariq told him how much he hates him. Ghost had probably written so many letters for multiple situations with Tariq could find himself in. Ghost knew that Tariq would get caught, which is why he wrote him a letter in case he was ever arrested for homicide. But I really wouldn't be surprised if he's written him a letter for when he graduates, for when he gets married, or when he has kids. So you can say Ghost is still 3 moves ahead of Tariq, even from his grave. At this stage he's ahead of Tariq anyway, so will Tariq ever beat Ghost? Only time will tell. But this letter should definitely be read in Ghost's voice. It's something I said straight away in my review and recap, and it's something I really wish they did. Now, it doesn't take anything away from how great the episode was, but hearing Ghost's voice would really have topped it off. But is there more to the letter than what Tariq read? Initially I thought there was, and Tariq didn't finish reading it because of how pissed off he was, but Kornikem confirmed that there was nothing more to the letter than what Tariq read. But what is Tariq going to be like when he is released from prison?
Stop Striving. I think Tariq is going to be way more like Kanan and Ghost after he gets out of jail. You know what? Never Stop Striving. I'm going to stop here because usually I don't respond to comments like this, but this is so brilliant because this is actually, again, Tariq is Ghost's son, but he was raised by 4 people, right? He was raised by Ghost, Tasha, Tommy, and Kanan. So he isn't just Ghost. He's actually all of these people. And he feels tremendous guilt about what happened between he and Kanan. So I think that you're kind of on a track, which is that Tariq is trying to find a way to be a good person, which is much like his father's story. But the inner Kanan in him is going to be like, nah, my friend.
So the inner Kanan in Tariq, and honestly, it is a very good way of looking at how Tariq will evolve and change as a character. Because you guys know I've spoken about how Tariq will have to unleash